Welcome, everyone, to On the Offense. This is our 23rd podcast. It's hard to believe we've come this far. I'm Jeff Baum. I'm here with my business partner, John Clendenning,
Hi,
and we're
folks.
here to talk to you about a pretty interesting subject today. Yes,
Uh,
John, go ahead.
Question. Are you sure it's not our 24th? Because that would mean a full trip around the sun.
Full year, yeah.
That would be 24, gentlemen.
Yes.
Wow. I'm one off, so it's been a whole year. We're still surviving. You're still surviving. That's all good, right? Anyway, today's kind of an interesting one. It's a little bit different. Are you on brand with your customer base? I'll let John talk a little bit more about that, but it's an interesting subject, especially given some of the things that have happened around here in Dallas recently. But John, you want to take it from here?
Sure. Apologies in advance. We are feeling a little bit unhinged today. Are we not, Jeff?
Well, I'm completely unhinged. Halloween theme, you know?
So, yeah, we're a little unhinged today for two reasons that I can think of. One is it is finally freaking cooling down here. Thank God. Hallelujah. People
In a big way today.
in a big way today for the first time. People on campus today, I'm in my campus office at the University of North Texas. Students are walking around in sweatshirts. How great is that? So that's unhinged in a good way. And by the way, when we say unhinged, it was 2 or 3 podcasts ago where we talked about feeling unhinged. And we had warned all of you in advance that we might go a little bit off the rails, which is part of why I'm saying this. We actually hope that's a good thing because it's probably more entertaining. But the other reason we're feeling a little unhinged is on the negative side. And that is because we live in Dallas and we like sports. And it is not a good time right now to be a Dallas sports fan.
No, it's not.
Now, Jeff and I are both transplants. But we've been here long enough now, 25 years, that we've formed some local bonds with the local teams. I would argue, tell me what you think about this, Jeff. I would argue that by far the most important pro sports team in Dallas is the Cowboys, by far.
By far.
Win or
No
lose,
question. No question.
in general.
In general and in absolute.
Yes.
No question.
I would also argue that the second most important team in the Metroplex is the Mavs.
I think that's fair. I think that's fair.
I mean,
I'm a Rangers fan. I think baseball's great, but I mean the Mavericks probably capture the spirit of Dallas better than
yeah,
than the Rangers.
What do people seem to care the most about, right? So guess what's happened with the stupid Cowboys and the stupid Mavs, okay? They're both stupid because they both traded their best player. The Mavericks on February 1st of this year, a day that will live in infamy in Dallas sports history. I'm not kidding. People remember that date around here. They traded Luka Doncic to the Lakers. We can get into why. We're going to get more into this as we go through the podcast. But I'm just saying that's what happened. Now, everybody kind of knows that. That was a really big deal in the sports world. The Cowboys probably, a week before the season started this year, something like that?
Well, let me announce this one because this is my university. We're a fellow alum.
Right.
But the Cowboys traded Micah Parsons, who was their biggest emerging star, and it just totally boggled the mind, especially for what they got. So, John, I'll hand it back to you, but this is stuff that had all our heads spinning.
Yeah, they traded him right before the season started, not because they didn't think he was good. The Mavericks thought Luka was out of shape, didn't like how he didn't play defense. There's nothing on the field that the Cowboys didn't love about Michael Parsons. They just couldn't agree to a contract with him, so they unloaded him. So here we are, okay? And if you think about it, how many months of the year is the NFL and the NBA in action at the same time? It's probably only, 3 months?
Yeah, at most 3 months.
November, December, January, I call it 3 or 4 months. This is one of those times of the year when the NBA and the NFL are both in action. So we are now suffering at the hands of both franchises because the Cowboys are what, 3-4-1, I think they are.
I believe so. They've got a losing record. That's not a normal thing.
And frankly, that's actually better than I thought they'd be. Like,
Me too.
they've
Me
been
too.
in most games, but the problem is they have great offense, but they cannot stop anyone. Gee, wouldn't it be nice to have Michael Parsons, right?
It would be, right? There might be a little bit of a pass rush, huh?
Right. But then the Mavs have now started. The NBA season has now started. The Mavs have had the first 4 games at home and now have a 5th game at home tomorrow. So what a nice gift wrap by the league. Oh, here you go. You get to start the season with a 5-game homestand. Who gets to do that? Well, guess what? They played 4 games. They're 1-3. They're off to a horrible start. And wouldn't it be nice if old Luka could be putting up some 3-pointers? So everybody's unhappy in Dallas right now about sports, and we're a little unhinged about that. So we're going to bring that back as we get into the main theme for today. Do you want me to talk about the theme, Jeff?
I think that would be great. I think that would be great. And we're going to have some fun with this theme. There's going to be a little game show action involved here. We're going to engage every one of you. So if you're interested, give us a call. You can give us our next idea.
There's going to be a little game show action. That's the term.
Absolutely.
We are going to have a little game show action. We're going to have some fun. So the theme for today is, are you on brand? That's kind of the main thing. And the second part of that is, are you on brand, especially after you've angered your customer base, right? So it's always important to be on brand in your marketing and communications. But we would argue even more important if you've gone through some sort of market issue, especially if it was self-induced. So, and if you think about, Jeff, you and I have talked in recent months about some of the situations out in the market, companies that have gone through this crisis or that crisis. Remember here we are in our 24th podcast. Remember our second podcast was on food. Remember that? And food crises. Right?
Yes, it was.
And you were talking about that meats company.
Oh, Boar's Head.
Boar's Head. And when the next time you go to the deli, are you going to have some Boar's Head or not? Right. Anyway, and you know what started that? It was the regional crisis that McDonald's had in the Mountain Time Zone.
Yes.
About something, about some.
It was contaminated quarter pounders with cheese. And it was their Taylor Farms provider.
Oh my God, right.
Who had contaminated lettuce.
Yes, that's right. So, and then more recently, we've had a lot of fun with Cracker Barrel, right? Who in the market world hasn't had fun with Cracker Barrel? But, so I was thinking about that, and, what are they doing? What are they doing to get past the problem that they had, Cracker Barrel, right? And at least from what I can tell, and the short version is they were going to rebrand completely, and everyone had a nervous breakdown. So they caved in, kept the current logo, and decided to not rebrand the restaurants inside, essentially, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that's okay. But what are you doing outside of all of that to bring people into the restaurants? And you know what I've noticed? I don't know if these billboards have always been there. I don't think so, though. But because in the last couple of weeks, I have really noticed a series on the way from where I live in the city in Dallas out here to Denton. I'm on the road for 45 minutes with no traffic, right? So billboard after billboard. And I have noticed a series of Cracker Barrel billboards that I had never seen before. And they're really well done, I have to say. They must be really going all in on breakfast, because think of these two one-liners. The copywriters did great work here. It's 8 a.m. somewhere.
As a Jimmy Buffett fan, I like that.
Exactly. It's 8 a.m. somewhere, and it's a picture of like ham and eggs, right?
Uh-huh.
The next one, rise and dine, rise and dine.
Love it. Love it.
And then the other one was, and this one I had seen before, but those two I just mentioned I had never seen before. A picture of eggs, and then it says in the words, not pictured, world's greatest pancakes. Right? They must be going all in on breakfast. Now that may or may not be new. I think they may have bought billboard space.
Oh,
As
I think so too, probably. I mean, I can remember when they were running billboards that talked about their new fried chicken. That was a big push,
yeah,
but not the series of billboards you're talking about now.
yeah, it's literally one after the other after the other. So I think there's a good lesson here, right? I mean, as those of you who know who follow this podcast, what we do is we take something that takes something that's going on in the world, and we kind of dissect it through the lens of marketing and communications. And I say good for them. They've taken the message to the people, right, by buying these extra billboards. Again, I'm assuming that's what's happened, as opposed to, okay, sorry, we're not going to rebrand, and let's just hope that everybody comes back, right? They're
Yeah.
not. Hope is not a strategy.
No, we've all heard that.
Right. So anyway, so any examples from your end, Jeff, that you've seen out there that of companies that have been in a little bit of duress and how they're trying to handle it?
Well, what I go back to, and it's a long time ago, and we talked about, we don't get too outdated in what our examples, but you're holding a Coke um, cup, and think about Coca-Cola Classic. They saw that they were losing share to Pepsi in the market, so they came up with this marketing idea is let's make Coke taste more like Pepsi, and they came up with New Coke. Well, there's such a backlash from that, and New Coke failed, and ultimately they came in with Coca-Cola Classic, which revitalized a beloved brand and totally breathed new life into the marketing efforts of the company. I think that's probably the best example of anything that I've seen, um, because they stumbled. They stumbled into a solution. I don't think you fix something that's not broken, and I think they found out it really wasn't broken.
I would agree. I would agree. Now, maybe they were losing share. I don't know, but it, annoying your customer base is generally not a good strategy to winning, right? All right. So the theme for today is: are you on brand? Especially if you've annoyed your customer base, right? But the most important part is the first part. So the inspiration for the first part of our theme today is a new show that debuted on NBC at the end of September. So Jeff, it's only been out there for about a month. I want to say they've done 3 or 4 episodes.
Yeah.
It is literally called On Brand, and it is hosted by Jimmy Fallon. It's on NBC one night a week, something like that. And I think it's streaming on Peacock as well, NBC on property. And what they do is they have handpicked a team of creative types, people who do creative in the marketing and communications world. That you hear the word creative, and I think of an ad agency, but I don't think these people are all from ad agencies. Okay,
Right, right.
and pick this team to come to New York and to compete with one another to see who can create the best campaign for a real client. And the example that I've seen is when they had and for a real client. And so, so you've got people up on the stage competing, if you will, presenting to the judge, and the judge is the CMO and I think maybe a small handful of others from the company as well. In this case, the example I saw was Dunkin' Donuts. They had the CMO of Dunkin' Donuts.
Mhm.
And so from what I can gather, this show is part Shark Tank, part Survivor, right? It's Shark Tank-esque in the sense that they're in a very Shark Tank type of set. And you've got the judges sitting where Mark Cuban and some of those people would normally sit. And then each person on the team takes their turn individually and presents a campaign idea to the CMO. And the other people in the so-called on-brand agency that Jimmy Fallon has put together, they're kind of in the audience as well. Uh-oh, hold on, I can't see anymore. There you go. Hi, Jeff.
Hey, John. Good to see you.
I lost you for a minute. So from that standpoint, it's more Shark Tank, but it's also part Survivor because apparently one of these creatives is essentially voted off the island every week. And so you're trying to get down to the point where you are the winning creative who presented the best, at that point, series of campaign ideas to the CMO. Would you watch that? What do you think of the premise, Jeff?
I like the premise of it. I don't know if I'd watch it every week, but it's certainly interesting. And John, I actually went on to YouTube. I watched one of the episodes. It was about Pillsbury.
Yeah.
And the Doughboy, the Poppin' Fresh, and they had a group of people, pitching different ideas. And I'm not sure which one won because the video ended. But yeah, that one, it was just the sensory emotions you feel when you smell something from Pillsbury baking in the oven, or when you open up the thing of the Hungry Jack biscuits and it pops and one pops out. And it's just all these sensory feels around it. And it was kind of a neat thing. I liked it. And don't know who's going to win, but it was interesting. And the way the judges viewed all of it, they talked about the emotions, the connections. And I think that's all key to good marketing and good advertising.
I'm going to say 6 words.
Okay.
It's food related. Tell me what movie this was from. It's the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
Ghostbusters.
100%. 100%. That is great marketing. Talk about
That is great marketing. Yeah.
It's the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. So the theme here is, are you on brand? And now you can see where the inspiration came from. The second part, which is, are you on brand, especially if you've annoyed your customer base, comes from the angst with which Jeff and I and millions of our fellow Dallas citizens are living right now, thanks to the bad, stupid decisions by both the Mavericks and the Cowboys, both of whom are playing now, and both of whom are losing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right, here's what we're going to do. What was the term you introduced a few minutes ago? Game show action.
Yeah, you're going to get some game show action here.
We're going to get some game show action, baby. So, all right. So,
hey, you're Trebek and I'm Sajak.
Wait, say that again.
You're Alex Trebek. I'm Pat Sajak.
That's right.
Game show action here.
That's right. But we're the contestants.
Well, that's true.
We're the contestants. So here's what we're going to do as part of our game show action. Jeff is going to present his idea for what the Cowboys can do to bring fans back into the fold, right? And I suppose your campaign idea, I'm going to assume that it's your idea, whether they're continuing to lose or not. The marketing people, hey, marketing is powerful, but we can't go onto the field and win games, right?
Correct.
I'm the same with the Mavs, okay? The rules of engagement, and we had a green room discussion of this, right? And we're not hearing this for the
correct.
The advanced teams for both candidates met in advance, and the campaigns are supposed to be integrated. So not just here's a new ad campaign, but they're supposed to represent different channels, if you will, for the marketing and communication spectrum. And so integrated brand promotion or integrated marketing communications campaigns. What can these two teams do to bring fans back into the fold? And I guess I would say, Jeff, especially if they continue to lose, because winning solves everything. If they start to win, it's sports. we wear our heart on our sleeve, I suppose we'd start paying more attention and we'd be happy and maybe go to more games. But marketing is a lot harder when the product isn't winning, whether it's on the field or on the shelf, right?
Yeah.
The question now, ladies and gentlemen, who is our Jimmy Fallon? Who is the judge and the jury of Jeff and John? And the answer is the one and only Gelman. Yeah.
Woo-woo! That's right.
That's right. Let's go. Let's go. So for those of you who are loyal followers of On the Offense here, Gelman is our executive producer. And she is going to be the judge. So we are each going to present to her. And she is then going to share her views with each presenter on how they did. And then Gelman ultimately will declare a winner. Now, one thing we didn't talk about when we met with each of the campaign teams is, what does the winner get? Now, Jeff, I'm tempted to offer you again the green G. Brent Ryan College of Business UNC football, but I've already promised this to you on a prior podcast. Yeah. So I don't think we can use that. You know what we could do? We could say the winner of this contest, of this game show action, wins a sort of clean clients first marketing and communications hat.
I think that is a fair prize.
You think that's good? I'm very proud.
One that I'll cherish forever if I get it.
By the way, maybe a little teaser. We've got some exciting news coming up relative to what you're looking at in the coming weeks. Maybe we should leave it at that, Jeff.
Why don't we leave it at that? We don't want to blow the surprise.
We have exciting marketing news coming from our agency in the coming weeks. So, Gelman, are you ready for the first? Oh, the other thing we should decide as part of, Jeff, our game show action. Does Gelman comment, whoever goes first here, maybe we need a coin toss, but whoever goes first here, does Gelman give that person live feedback right away, or does Gelman wait till we're both done and then give everybody feedback at once?
I think she should wait until we're both done.
I tend to agree with that.
She won't have anything to compare it against.
Juicy. It's going to be like a real show.
Okay. I tend to agree with that. And you know what, Jeff? That pains me to say it because I don't like agreeing with you. I don't care for it.
I don't like it either with you.
We get unhinged at the mere thought of each other.
Oh, right?
Yeah. Hinged. All right. Gelman, can you do some sort of virtual coin toss or something to figure out who to go?
Ooh, absolutely. Okay, give it 1 second. All righty. Are we ready?
I'm ready.
We are ready. We just need to know who goes first.
And then who chooses heads and who chooses tails?
Jeff, I defer to you.
I'll choose heads.
All righty. Ready? 3, 2, flipping. It's tails.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
So, all right. So I'm up first. All right. This is
first.
exciting. I kind of like it when my team defers to the second half. So I
was thinking that too, but you know what?
I don't. Oh, wait a minute.
Do this.
You won the coin toss. You get to choose.
I defer.
Seriously, you defer?
I want the second half kickoff. Always.
Crap. Okay. Okay. So I'll start it out. So what do we need to accomplish?
Why not? Why anyone?
The Cowboys have stumbled with a major decision, and you know, I think it's largely agreed upon that Micah had emerged as the best defensive player in the NFL, or at least, you know, among the top 3. And so how do you get over that? And why on earth would you trade him at the beginning of the season, especially when you're trying to get Jerry Jones, who's how old now, 83 or 84? He wants to get to the Super Bowl again. He's not going to do it just by wishing it. So, why trade away your best player? So here I'm going to put together a little strategic framework, and it's got to blend certain things, brand storytelling, fan engagement, digital innovation, and maybe community relevance. So let's get on with it. So I'll quiz you guys. What is it that makes the Cowboys America's team?
Winning.
Winning, that's part of it. But
Roger Staubach.
well, Roger Staubach, Roger the Dodger, he was a captain comeback. He was fantastic.
This-
But symbolically, it's the star
yeah.
on the side of the helmet. And that star should unite all of us. Not only us, well, we used to be young. Now we're middle-aged, I'd say. Um,
Hey, not even close.
okay, I'm still a young buck.
Yes.
Anyway, they're different people. What's the emotional core of this team? You've got the people who date way back to when the Cowboys first broke into the league. And yeah, there's great heritage in this team. And that's one of the things that makes it very special. So you got the people there who saw Don Meredith quarterback the team and were there for the early days, saw the Cowboys bloom, were there from the very beginning with Tom Landry. So you've got that group, that generational divide. And so that's the emotional core of the team when you look at it from that aspect. Then you got those of us who came along a bit later, and we saw that 1970s, 1980s version of the team, and that was the next generation. One thing that's always been there is great players, great game plans, everything else. So that's the second group you need to capture. And then you've got a third group, all these young people, mainly those who weren't around in 1995, the last time the Cowboys won the Super Bowl against, John, you want to answer who it was against?
The Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yes, that's why I don't like you. You know things like that.
I know. No.
Yeah.
Just
So,
he knows the Steelers are Jeff's boyhood team.
yeah, yeah. I don't know. I don't know who to believe here. The Steelers are going to get to their past glory. It's going to be pretty hard. So, yeah, so you got your core loyalists, you got your next gen fans, you got a national audience who believe Cowboys are America's team. I had a fraternity brother who was from Maryland, and he was a diehard Cowboys fan. And I always asked him why.
Wow.
Yeah, and his answer was, I really don't know. So it's just capturing people like that. It's amazing. And then you got a global growth market. But the one thing you do have, and whether he's a good general manager or not, it's Jerry Jones, who is the master marketer. Got into the Hall of Fame, the Football Hall of Fame, probably not because of the team's success, even though he won two Super Bowls, right? I think. Three?
3 in the first 5 years that he owned the
Oh,
team.
yeah. Two with Jimmy, one with Barry Switzer.
Right.
So, you've got that master marketer. So what do we do with this? Um, as I thought about it, that first prong, creative pillars, it's the legacy, right? The legacy of the team. You got these wonderful people. Yeah, Aikman meets Dak. You've got Roger Staubach way back. You could put it into like a three-part YouTube series and social series. And you've got a visual tone that would be kind of cinematic. You got a Texas proud tone, mythic, but human. And then you've got the star experience. Well, a big part of marketing is immersing your audience into whatever you're selling or whatever you're trying to get them to experience. So how do you activate these Cowboys fans? I've heard it said that you can go into a stadium like the one in Kansas City or the one in Seattle where the noise is deafening. But you can go into AT&T Stadium, also known as Jerry World, and you can't really tell whether it's a home game or an away game. So how do you get these people involved? Well, maybe get them on the field to catch a pass from Dak Prescott, or via the Cowboys app, you could do something like that. Create digital collectibles like the Star Unites Us, and then integrate sponsors. You got Pepsi, Ford, AT&T, co-branded activations. Some pretty neat ideas there, or possibilities. Let's say not ideas. um, modern Cowboys voice. What is the Cowboys' social presence? More humor, behind the scenes authenticity, and fan generated content. How can you use TikTok, Instagram Reels? Players showing their personalities. Um, think of CD Lamb's fashion drops. For God's sakes, there's all kinds of stuff out there. And then you could have like an Under the Star weekly challenge where fans post what the Cowboys mean to them and a chance to be featured at a home game. And then finally, or maybe it's not, yeah,
Like that.
finally, we do the community collection. We get the communities around here involved. Friday Night Stars, traveling series spotlighting Texas high school football teams and players who embody Cowboys values. And finally, you can do something they already do, partner with the Salvation Army, veterans organizations, youth sports initiatives to showcase real impact stories. And finally, let's think back to some things they've already done. Well, they already have a Thanksgiving Day game, which puts them in the national spotlight every year, if only for a day. And they probably have the most iconic cheerleading squad of any sports franchise in the world. How do you leverage that? So you've got all these built-in celebrities, you've got all these people you can get directly involved in the fans. And I think that's kind of exciting. And whether they win or whether they lose, you've got all these aspects. This is a hugely positive legacy the Cowboys have, whether they win or lose right now. And you got to have people who can see it for all it is. It's not just this year and last year, but it's going back through the history. You add up the number of Super Bowls. It's stunning. So with that, I'll turn it over to John.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you, John, for being
Thank you, Jeff.
So, all right. Now, so the situation that Jeff described that raised this as an issue was the trading of Michael Parsons. Call it Labor Day-ish, right before the season. Well, I'm going to take you back to earlier in the same calendar year when the Mavericks traded Luka Doncic. And that was a Saturday night at 11 o'clock. All of a sudden, everybody's phones are blowing up. I'm having to call my son at and keep him away from the ledge. I was checking on the welfare of my son because this team traded his favorite player. And he was just one of many. The entire city essentially had a nervous breakdown. And the chant that started pretty quickly was "Fire Nico." And it took on a life of its own because they still had, it's February 1st. They still had, 2.5 more months of games to play. And so all you would hear for the next 2+ months at the arena was "Fire Nico." And it seemed like all 18,000 people in the arena were chanting it, whether they were or not. Many of them were. And they would be chanting that regardless of the score, regardless of who the opponent was, whatever. It was so bad. The whole situation became really toxic. But the situation went from bad to worse, all by self-induced stupidity by the Mavs. In the days and weeks that followed this trade, they announced the raising of ticket prices. Are you kidding me? Maybe the single dumbest thing I've ever seen a team do. Number one. Two, they did interviews in which they threw Luka under the bus as a way to try to explain what everyone was having such a problem with, which made them look mean-spirited. Luka, as a very wealthy, very public person, was clearly devastated himself. And so they lowered themselves to personal attacks on him. And then the third thing, which didn't have to be so bad on its own, but the timing just didn't help, was the newly appointed president of the Mavs was all of a sudden doing interviews on the fact that they were going to be moving to a new arena in Irving, not too far away, but you're either downtown or you're not. right? And it was just yet another sign of radical change that our heads were just spinning. So they took a difficult situation, and I'll say difficult situation, even if they made the right basketball move, which most people don't think they did. But all I'm saying is they were just throwing all this stuff at us. Okay. And keep in mind, the expectations of the fan base had been raised really high because we had just been to the freaking finals. Right?
Exactly.
Right. Not like they were trying to fix some losing situation. Right. So here's my recommendation. It's a little bit, it's not unlike the Cracker Barrel thing. Let's just, focus on breakfast, rise and dine. It's 8 a.m. somewhere. Just get people back to focusing on the product, which is the great food, the comfort food that Cracker Barrel has long been known for, right? So my whole thing is focus on the new core players, pure and simple. You talked a lot about heritage, and I get all of that. Hey, the Cowboys have a heritage second to none in professional sports in the United States, right? I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about looking back in time. I'm not talking about honoring players from the past. I'm not talking about any of that. I'm talking about focus on today, focus on the now. Because if you think about it, isn't that the product? That is the plate of bacon and eggs. That's the product, is the players. So focus on the new core players, because as bad as this trade was in a real and or at least perceived way, you still have a lot of really good players on the team. Best of whom is injured Kyrie Irving, unfortunately, but he's around the team. He's working on his knee. So I tend to think of marketing and communications through the lens of paid, owned, and earned media. Okay. So the paid media, I think what they should be doing, and I've seen nothing of this sort, Jeff, in the city. I think they should be buying billboards to promote the players. They should have a big fat picture of Cooper Flag on one of these billboards. And then the next exit, they should have a big fat picture of Anthony Davis, and then billboard. It's the same.
Right.
Billboard after billboard as you lead toward Uptown, for those of you who know Dallas, toward the arena, right? As a way to essentially remind people that, hey, we traded away our most recognizable face, but we have a lot of other faces, right? And these are well-known, accomplished players. Even Cooper Flag, he's very well known because of how prominent he was at Duke. So that's paid. Owned, you should be doing a social campaign that features different players on your team, and not shooting free throws, but doing things in the community. What do they do at home? What do they do to prepare for going to the arena on a game day? I read an article as I was preparing for this podcast, and I'm Jeff. I'm paraphrasing the headline, but it's pretty close. Derek Lively appears to be the Mavericks' entire social strategy, and it was not an article from the last week. It was over the last few months, and the point was the Mavericks are blowing out Derek Lively on social. And so I looked it up, but only him. Right? Why only him? Why would they not do him and then Anthony Davis and then Nazi Marshall and Max Christie? Why would that not be a series, like a campaign, instead of just
picking one guy?
Well, they should be doing that now. They should be doing a new player. This is Cooper Flag week, and then next week it's Derek Lively week, and just reminding people you've got this set of people who are really good and really engaging and fun and have a good sense of humor, and humanize the team beyond Luka, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because as great as he is, basketball is a team sport, right? And you've got to have lots of other people to play their roles, and then earned. I would be setting up interviews with Cooper Flag left and right. I'd be setting up interviews with Kyrie about his knee. I'd be setting up interviews with Derek Lively about this or that. I'm not seeing that. Maybe I'm not watching the local news enough here. I'm just not seeing much. I was all over their social media, again, in preparation for this podcast. There's a bunch of stuff about the game, about, it's just game stuff, but they're not building the personality of their players in our minds. And it seems all not inauthentic, but just a little removed, right? It doesn't seem like they're going above and beyond to connect us with these people at a time when I would argue that they need to do that, right? And then the last thing I'd say, I'll point out is events. These players should be fanning out into the community left and right. Now, you don't want to go so far that you distract them too much now that the season has started. But if there's an off day, I see no reason why Anthony Davis can't be visiting a school or somebody doing this. Maybe they're going to be doing that once the beginning of the season, once they get into the rhythm of the season. I don't see it right now. I checked. I don't see it. I looked them up in news. There's nothing. What are they doing? Now is the time when we are deciding whether to reinvest our attention and our time on this team, because it's the first full season without Luka. So it's like, okay, you only get one chance to make a good first impression. Do we like this new team or do we not? And who is the team? It's the players. So there you go. That is my pitch. Gelman, over to you.
Hello, folks. She's appeared.
Yes, this is Gelman, whose face shows up periodically.
You people know me. You know my voice at least.
The pride of the University of Georgia.
Go Dogs, baby. That's right.
And that may be the commercial I hate more than any other, is where that guy is in the meeting with his boss and she has a Georgia mug and he, go Dogs, and starts to bark.
Oh yeah, classic.
I saw that last weekend. Yeah.
Most people do start to bark if they're from Georgia. So I'll spare you. I'll spare you today. Well done, gentlemen. Excellent job. I do have questions. A couple questions. First things first, I thought both were very interesting, specifically because I am not a big sports person. So I'm an interesting use case. So I understand sports and I'm like a fringe person. So I'm like right on the line between engaging and not engaging. So I'm an interesting, perfect candidate to be evaluating this because I'm kind of on the fence either way. And so unless you're really selling me, I'm probably going to sit out. So yeah, and I'm also putting myself back in my Dallas mind because I'm not currently local to Dallas, but I grew up there. So I kind of am still claiming it. Claiming the expertise, I suppose. So I think I'm going to start with yours, John. So one thing about me, and these gentlemen know this, but my first thought when it comes to anything is, who are you? Who's the person behind the camera? Who's the person behind the voice, behind the post, behind the writing, but like, who's our CEO? That's why I stressed to them how important a podcast like this would be, so we can help you guys get to know these people that I care very much for. So that's my first thought is, I want to know who you are, especially if my favorite is gone and I have no idea who to root for. I want to root for my home team, but I don't know who's the new guy, who's the new, can I look into it? Yes, I can. But on the average, everyone's just going to work, going home. They'd like to buy in, but they're not going to take the time out of their day to go after it, right? So what are you as the marketing team doing to get in front of them without inconveniencing them? So I think your suggestion was really interesting, to run some really good social campaigns specifically. Obviously, it's my first thought is, what are we doing on social? Because that's where you're going to get the most eyes on you, the most people who, I mean, even young viewers are important, right? People who start to idolize these players. This is a whole part of it, into creating mentors and role models for people to look up to on these teams, right? And to hustle after and to become. So I want to know their personalities. I want to know their humor. I want to know, are you an approachable person? Because especially in this day and age, as a consumer, I'm looking to spend my money in places that entertain me and are worth my money. I'm not just spending it anywhere. So I'm going to support the player that I have, even if parasocial, a relationship with. So I think that would get me in the door, is if someone would just became some kind of personality, right? Right now, it's all over, right? A bunch of teams do this, but this would be a great little like gateway in, or an alleyway in, is they have, one of the sports coordinators or one of the like assistant team members or something like that standing in the entry hallway as team members walk in to warm up for practice or warm up for a game, and they ask them a really hilarious question, or they take an old photo of theirs and say, oh, hey, can you sign this? And then they take this photo and realize, oh, it's me from middle school, and I now have to sign it. And so it immediately shows their personality. It shows what who they used to be, shows them as a kid, like maybe holding a big basketball that's the size of them. And it's just like, it paints a story for you within a 10-second interaction. And so talk about a gold mine, right? Just those tiny little interactions with the players, getting to know who they are, will spin it again. And then also your billboard idea would second that, right? So maybe there's a viral moment we can capitalize on and put that up on the billboard. Maybe there's a slogan or something that's one of the players says that, starts being a meme or something like that. We can put it up on a billboard, and then people start asking questions. Who's this guy? What is this? I need to figure it out, because I know, at least for me, driving through Los Angeles, when I see a billboard that doesn't make any sense, I'm immediately curious. What is that? You know what I mean? Who is this guy? Why is his face huge on my way? Like, I'm curious. And of course, if there's a Mavericks association, you're going to get a bigger audience as well. So great, loved that. Okay, so then Jeff, I loved a bunch of it. Specifically, what was interesting to me is the fan engagement. You talked about the cheerleaders, right? Mm-hmm. The cheerleaders are, not make too much noise moving my computer. The cheerleaders are a really unique opportunity, right? Where they've already had one of the biggest, I think, Netflix series is in the recent years. Right. They've taken over social media. People are Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders for Halloween more than ever, because it's an achievable costume. There's dances. It's approachable to right now, right? Everyone who's dancing, singing, being creative, moving your body, being a performer is exactly what the up and coming generations are looking for. They want something they can stick to like that. Right. That can become trendy and repeatable with their friends online, right? I've actually done the walkthrough of the Cowboys Stadium, and been in the stadium. I went to a school specifically that does an experience with the Cowboys Stadium. We get to, play a game there, and I was a cheerleader in high school, so we got to go into the locker rooms and take pictures in there and just like see it in a completely different light. And I can't even tell you, it was so fascinating, being down on the field, like having watched so many games with my dad growing up. It was totally full circle. And then obviously I was a cheerleader, so it felt very full circle for me. But I don't think they put enough emphasis that this is something that they offer. So, for example, I work for a winery. So my immediate thought when you were talking about audience segmentation, that's exactly what we do, right? We not to segregate them in any way, but just to kind of keep an idea of who these people are that we're serving, right? Because that's what we're doing in hospitality. But we have our platinums and, you know, our like recurring guests, and then maybe guests that have joined us recently, but not recent enough, and we would love for them to come back. You know, what can we do to bring you back in? The community engagement you were talking about, right? What if that looks like doing something even further with the Cowboys cheerleaders, and maybe even the players? This can be a personality builder. Maybe we do something, a charity situation, especially because there's a lot of, you want to talk about having, you know, burned your customers a little bit. The Cowboys have a lot of money, and I think they can do a lot of good with it. And what a brilliant, you know, marketing, but also genuine investment in the community to build genuine viewership and patronage, right?
Mhm.
To invest in the community, bring your players. Maybe we're planting trees on the brand new park that's being built nearby, right? What can we do to actually dive into the community? I think that's a really interesting and topical thing to do to engage your community, but also try and maybe bring a little bit more positive spin to your brand. We're looking for win-win situations right now, right? Because we're seeing back-to-back, you might call them mistakes. So how can we genuinely just put our best foot forward, right? Really, really compelling arguments. And kind of similar in a way recommendations, right? Boots on the ground. Tell us who you are. We want to know. This is what the consumer landscape looks like right now. We want the big word in every single podcast, authenticity, right? I'm going to do the big
100.
SpongeBob rainbow, authenticity, where it's for a reason, right? Again, we're looking for the humanity in you. And so that, I think picking a winner here is impossible. It's so hard.
You could just pick a tie.
Oh, a tie would work.
I'm gonna do this. How about we do this? Okay, I'm a terrible judge. Or I'm a fair judge. Okay, so this is my Libra moon. Welcome everyone. I'm very balanced. I I am interested to see what the audience thinks. I think it would be interesting if we told the audience, okay, Caroline has her hands up. Both are such good recommendations. What if we put it in the comments? Tell us option A or
Great
option
idea.
B. And whoever has the most comments in our next broadcast will announce the winner.
Outstanding. That is an outstanding idea.
One of the best ideas I've heard in ages.
Does it, are you able to steer people in one direction or another based on the level of handsomeness of the presenter?
It's an excellent
You want that to
question.
be the case, John. I'd clearly win.
Hey, man, listen, I think the audience can make their own decisions there as well.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, everyone.
I just talked through myself.
I put sparkles around you. Well done, though. I think either way, we're seeing a clear directive, right, for both of these brands. And just if anyone's listening, for your brand as well, maybe this, if you've gotten this far, maybe you have a brand of your own or one that you're in favor of that has done the same thing. If you're not in a position to tell a bigger brand, maybe you're in a position to work with a smaller one and give these suggestions, or work with your own clients. And don't be afraid to, I suppose my last piece would, don't be afraid to like really pull back the onion. Show us how the sausage is made. Show us behind the scenes. We want to get to know you. You're going to breed so much more loyalty than you think that it might feel invasive, if that makes sense.
It totally makes sense.
Totally.
I love this idea. I am all for the public poll. I love
I
it.
am all in. I am all in.
Neither Jeff nor I would have thought of that without your assistance. Thank you. So,
I would not have thought of that. I thought that was
Jeff,
good.
You're very welcome.
we have to make a pact right now, Jeff. We're willing to live with the results.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And how about and the winner again?
Democracy, John. It's democracy. We're free will, free speech wins
That's
out.
right. Clients first hat is on is up for grabs here. So that needs to be taken seriously by our customer base here. So we'll see what happens. Very good.
Absolutely.
Gelman, thank you.
Thank you,
Gelman,
folks.
so much. Very well done. Jeff, closing comments for the audience.
But just one thing I didn't talk about on the podcast that's kind of interesting. When you talk about effective marketing and advertising, when I got headhunted by EDS, I was thinking, wow, I really want to go there. And then I watched the Super Bowl and I saw that herding cats commercial.
Right.
Thinking, wow, this company has some humanity. This
Right.
really funny commercial. And that really kind of made me take that opportunity seriously. So, it just shows you good marketing could go a long way. But on that,
It's a really good point. The only comment I would offer here is, and we always like to filter these closing comments through the lens of helpful comments and tips and takeaways for people. I would say this. I am the faculty advisor here at UNT for the National Student Advertising Competition, the UNT team that's competing in a national competition with many, many other universities to do an integrated brand promotion or marketing communications campaign for a real client. Mm-hmm. And I shouldn't say who the client is because it's not really public yet, but I will say this: in their direction for the university teams, they have asked for, and it's in bold, in bold ideas. They mm-hmm. want bold ideas. So, we call this podcast On the Offense.
Right.
And my agency is all about advising clients how to get on the offense if you're not already on the offense, and then how to stay on the offense. And that comes down to being aggressive, to being creative. And yes, it comes down to being bold. And so, yeah, those to me are the better ideas. One of the reasons I liked that I came up with my idea is that I do think it would be bold for the Mavericks to not pretend like the Luka thing never happened, but focus on what you've got. You've got a lot, and just go for it. Put your money into those people, because those people are damn good too. Right? And just be bold and creative and aggressive and consistent, and make it that you cannot drive around this town without thinking of those players on that team, regardless of what you think about the organization because of the Luka trade. Right? Just be bold, essentially, is what we're saying. And that's typically what we like to say to our clients anyway. So you want to do our closing commercial, Jeff?
Yeah. So as I know now, this was episode number 24, which does mean we've gone all the way around the world once. So we hope to go around the world again, maybe more than one time. That would be great. But please, if you want to talk to us directly about any of this stuff, if you want to be advised on strategy, if you want to be advised on communications, if you want to have it done for you, if you want to be advised on a great marketing campaign, we can be your people. And we've got a network of people we work with who are equally good, trusted associates. We got it all. So please visit our website. Please visit our social channels. We're on all of them. And anyway, I wish you a wonderful weekend. Please join us again. And John, final words?
Happy Halloween, everyone. We are recording this 3 days before Halloween. So by the time you see this, Halloween will be past. Be safe, be scary, be bold.
Be bold. Let me sign off with my devil horns and how's
No,
that?
really. And let me just say this last comment, Jeff, my strong advice to you is to not dress as a Dallas Cowboys cheerleader for Halloween. Just do us a favor and just pick any other costume other than that.
How did you know?
I had a feeling. I had a feeling.
Oh.
Thanks, everyone. See you later.
See ya.